Okay, everybody, we're finally here. Give it up for Steven-Amelia-Benny. Yay!
So here's Steven-Amelia-Benny, and he's going to talk about another very interesting subject, right? Just so that you know, what grade are you in? Go ahead. Rising junior. Okay? And the subject matter, as you can see, is post-quantum cryptography. Basically, what he's trying to or attempting to present is a very interesting subject, which is cybersecurity, within cybersecurity, quantum, how the cryptography, all these things combined together. He says there is a need to look into that. Go ahead.
So, hello everyone. My name is Steven-Benny. So, I would like everyone to just picture this. Imagine that every device you use, such as maybe your phone or a laptop device, weren't secure enough to communicate with other devices anymore. As you may or may not know, many security systems are put in place on such devices to prevent hackers from stealing information, say when you're using the internet. What if these cryptographic systems, which are these security systems on your device, become useless against a new threat, quantum computing? Today we're going to take a dive into post-quantum cryptography and learn how we can start securing our future. So first, I would like to say a thank you to Riverlog Software, a systems integration and cybersecurity company. Okay, so first a quick few words about me. As I said before, my name is Steven, and I am a rising junior attending Foothill High School, so I live in the Bay Area. I've been researching with another institution about the consequences of quantum computing on cryptography. With the help of my research advisor, I've gained sufficient knowledge on this field, and I am also working with some fellow researchers to publish a paper regarding our findings in post-quantum cryptography. I also have a solid background in Linux administration, cloud computing with Kubernetes, and I am currently, in fact, doing an internship where I'm being able to test these skills. So here's a quick overview of the presentation. So first, we're going to talk about cryptography, basically just the essentials of cryptography, what it is, how it works, what it does, etc. For those who are familiar with this field, please bear with me. Then we're going to go into quantum computing. What is it, and why is it a threat? Then we'll move on to post-quantum cryptography, the main focus of this presentation. And then finally, we'll take a glance into the future and see how we can transition from our current security systems to quantum-resistant systems. So, what is cryptography? Cryptography is essentially the practice of having secure information by converting it into an unreadable format, otherwise known as ciphertext. So cryptography is mainly practiced through cryptographic algorithms, and there are a variety of these algorithms in place today. The main goal of these algorithms is to ensure that only authorized parties can access this information, whereas unauthorized parties won't be able to expose the information or gain information from it. Encryption and decryption are processes that are done in cryptography. Encryption is, as I said before, the process of turning that information into ciphertext, where decryption is a process of deciphering that ciphertext and understanding that information. This is done through the generation of something called keys, and you can think of a key as the same key you use to lock or unlock a door. So a key in cryptography would just be able to lock or unlock information. So cryptographic algorithms all have these essential aspects in them. Confidentiality, which is the protection of information from individuals. Integrity, which is ensuring that the information being transferred is not altered or changed in any way. Authentication, which is the ability to verify the authenticity of both communicating parties. And non-repudiation, a way to provide proof or evidence that transaction of information has occurred. So, Now, as I said before, cryptography is implemented through cryptographic algorithms, and there are two main approaches to this field. There's symmetric cryptography and asymmetric cryptography. This is important to know as almost all data being transferred is using one of these two approaches. So here's a brief overview of these types of algorithms. Symmetric key cryptography uses a single key for encryption and decryption, and this key will be shared between the sender and the recipient. This is beneficial because it is very efficient and it can encrypt large amounts of data because it's only using one key. However, since it's using one key, you have to somehow find a way to securely distribute that key without other people having access to it. Some algorithms that you can see that use this approach today are AES, DES, and 3DES. So, the next approach is asymmetric key cryptography. This is a more secure method than symmetric key cryptography, as it uses two keys, a public key and a private key. The public key is available to all and is distributed freely, and it is used to encrypt the data, whereas a private key is kept secret, and only the individual has access to it. So it solves the previous issue I mentioned before that symmetric key cryptography has, where you don't have to share keys, but it is more computationally intensive because of the fact that it requires two keys to work. You can see algorithms today that use this as RSA, DH, and ECC, very common algorithms that you can see almost everywhere. So these approaches make cryptography very secure nowadays, but what happens when quantum computing enters the picture? So before I discuss about quantum computing's effects on cryptography, what is quantum computing? Quantum computing uses the principles of quantum mechanics to perform computations. What this means is that instead of using bits, and for those who don't know what a bit is, it's a combination of zeros and ones to store and process information. Quantum computing uses something called qubits, which can technically represent both 0 and 1 at the same time. This means that quantum computers, or quantum computing in general, can perform many computations simultaneously, making it more powerful, more efficient, and a lot faster than classical computers. So, along with qubits, it also exploits other quantum mechanics, namely quantum entanglement, quantum gates, quantum superposition, quantum measurement, and quantum interference. So all of this sounds great, right? Undoubtedly, quantum computing is where technology is heading towards at the current moment. But that doesn't mean this breakthrough doesn't come with its own set of problems. Quantum computers are unfortunately a major threat to current cryptographic systems. Because quantum computers are just that much more powerful, they can easily crack current cryptographic algorithms that were previously secure, especially when it comes to algorithms that are based on the hardness of a math problem. Now, what does the hardness of a math problem mean? So, many cryptographic algorithms use a difficult math problem as the basis of its security. So, say you were trying to decrypt that certain algorithm, it would require a computer to essentially solve that computationally difficult math problem, which in most cases is impossible or infeasible for a classical computer to do. But because quantum computers have so much more access and more power, because it can compute simultaneously, it can easily crack most of these encryptions that involve the hardness of math problems. So let's take an example. So RSA is a common cryptographic algorithm that is used almost everywhere. And the basis of its security is essentially the factoring of large polynomials. Well, quantum computing uses quantum algorithms such as Shor's algorithm, which efficiently factors large numbers, which means they can easily break any RSA encryption. This obviously compromises many of the foundations of many widely used security protocols, such as secure communication, digital signatures, and key exchange. So now that we hopefully have sufficient knowledge on what cryptography and quantum computing is, let's see what post-quantum cryptography is doing to address this issue. So, what's the goal of post-quantum cryptography? In simple words, the goal of post-quantum cryptography is to develop cryptographic algorithms that are resistant to attacks from quantum computers, as well as classical computers. If you can figure out how to make these algorithms, we can completely avoid the threat of quantum computing. So, here is the current state of affairs, or ongoing research and development in PQC. I'm just going to refer to it as PQC from now on. So, the main priority of post-quantum cryptography is that research is focused on producing effective cryptographic algorithms that can defend against both quantum attacks and classical attacks. Designing new algorithms and refining existing ones are key areas of interest in this field. Extensive security analysis is also being done to identify strengths and assess its security. There are also efforts to standardize post-quantum algorithms by organizations such as NIST to smooth and streamline the transition from cryptographic systems to post-quantum cryptographic systems. There are also efforts to make sure that not only are these algorithms secure, but they are also much more efficient and faster than current algorithms right now. So let's take a deeper dive into some of the different PQC algorithms and some of the main approaches people take when designing their algorithms. So these are 4 different approaches, but there are many more, but these are widely used ones. And the first one I'm going to talk about is lattice-based. So lattice-based cryptography relies on the mathematical properties of lattices as the basis of its security. So lattices have been proved to be very difficult for both quantum computers and classical computers to solve. So this type of cryptography is a lead contender for being safe against quantum attacks. Next, we have code-based cryptography, and much like lattice-based, it utilizes another mathematical concept, error-correcting codes as the basis of cryptography. Multivariate-based cryptography is another system that uses a mathematical concept of multivariate polynomials to ensure security, as well as hash-based, which relies on cryptographic hash functions to secure its devices. So, here are some, as with any new developing field of science, there are key challenges, especially when it comes to designing and implementing these PQC algorithms. As with any new field, security analysis needs to be done extensively to make sure that these algorithms are secure. Cryptanalysts verify using vulnerability assessments and other assessments to make sure that these algorithms are secure as secure as possible. Another significant challenge lies in achieving high performance and efficient PQC algorithms. As I said before, while ensuring that security is important in these algorithms, we must make sure that they are also as efficient as possible. Along with this, long-term security is another problem, as quantum computing will undoubtedly keep evolving, so PQC algorithms will need to evolve with it to anticipate any new threats that could come up. So, however, there has been significant progress in standardization. The National Institute of Science and Technology, or NIST, has been leading the standardization process for post-quantum cryptography. The process began in 2016 with a call for submissions of PQC algorithms, which have since been through multiple rounds of evaluation, feedback, and refinement. This aims to ultimately select one or more PQC algorithms as the recommended standard to ensure the security of cryptographic systems from quantum attacks. Various types of PQC algorithms are being considered, from lattice-based schemes all the way to isogeny-based schemes. And this standardization process has encouraged a lot of collaboration and community involvement, even internationally. NIST has, I think, partnered with other standardization organizations such as the International Standardization Organization and one in Europe, I believe, the European Telecommunications Standardization Institution. So, Let's take a look at how this transition would work in the future. So this is a challenge in integrating post-quantum cryptography in the world. Currently, almost every device we use today is connected to the internet in some form or fashion. All of these are encrypted in current cryptographic algorithms such as RSA that are vulnerable to quantum attacks. Now, how do we roll out these PQC algorithms to all these billions of devices that use the internet? If the solution involves forklift upgrades, this would take years. From past experiences, you can probably expect that mostly developed parts of the world will first undergo this change, leaving rural communities and remote areas without secure communication. It is important to adopt a practical solution that can protect all people irrespective of where they live or their economical situation. So, since we are all connected to the internet, I will be using that as a model to show potential solutions to solve the quantum crisis. We can expect that all the servers will first undergo the change in a manner that allows them to support both post-quantum cryptography and classical cryptography. Upgrading the clients or the devices to be quantum safe would take years, so it would be a multi-year long process. So what do we do to the devices that aren't quantum resistant? So I got some ideas by existing analyzing solutions, such as secure tunnels using VPN. And if you imagine, let's break this model into 3 segments. You can break it into the first mile, which is from your device connecting to your internet provider, the middle mile, which is the internet provider's network, and then the last mile, which is from your internet provider to the server. So we need to secure the middle mile somehow. Using something I like to call quantum safe secure tunnels, or PQ tunnels, we can establish those networks over a network access point, such as a wireless router to a proxy. These tunnels will essentially wrap around the information that is being sent from your wireless router to the proxy, protecting it from any types of quantum attacks. The proxy will then upstream that information to the server, which is already quantum resistant. So here are some examples of how that would work. As you look at your corporate environment or just a home network, you would first connect to a wireless router that would be capable of rerouting your traffic or information through a PQ tunnel. That tunnel would, as I said before, protect from quantum attacks, and then would pass it on to a proxy, which would then relay it to the server. On a global scale, we can see how this would look like on the graph here. Devices would use quantum-safe tunnels, which would secure the information sent or received in any part of the world. To implement this, internet providers would need to start supporting these PQ tunnels, and I think it would be important for governments to also enforce this change so that people would have more time to transition their devices to become quantum resistant. So, as phase 1 is happening in the background, this phase will be happening in the background. So eventually, our ideal end state is that we want both the servers and the clients to be both quantum resistant. So while phase 1 is happening, hopefully we can start slowly upgrading our devices to become quantum resistant, which, as I said before, will take multiple years. And then finally, phase 3, this would be the post-quantum ideal end state, where both the clients and the servers are resistant against quantum cryptography, meaning we wouldn't need any proxies or tunnels at all. So, in conclusion, post-quantum cryptography is a necessary step to secure our future. And I feel it is vital for collaboration between academies, industry, and standardization bodies in order to achieve this goal. Thank you. Any questions?